Hi, welcome to our podcast. My name is Kashish and I am co founder at Exfynia. We help businesses to optimize their finance operations after ERP implementation, improving accounting processes, automating manual work with AI, and helping clients to get more value from platforms like NetSuite, Microsoft Dynamics, and Oracle. Today's conversation is right in that zone. I am joined by Manish Aggarwal and Hrithvik Raj, founder of TrueLedger Consulting, and we will be talking around expanding to the US and building scalable finance operations for the global growth. So, over to Manish and Hrithvik. Please tell us about your professional journey.
So, thank you, Kashish, for hosting us in your podcast, and we truly appreciate this opportunity. And I think you are very spot on in terms of the theme for the today's session around building the scalable finance operations and what are the challenges that businesses face post ERP implementation and how they can scale up the process and expand into the US market. So, considering this thought only, I think we envisage the idea of founding True Ledger Consulting. A brief about my journey here. I am a professional chartered accountant by qualification. I have almost 15 plus years of experience working in different corporates, public accounting firms like PwC, Deloitte, and EY. And I've also experienced in working in US based MNCs having their operations in India and across multiple countries. So, having worked in the multiple roles and managing the tax compliances for the different countries, I thought that businesses definitely need a one stop solution for the compliance and a person who needs more than just the tax return filing or the preparation. They need
Yeah, right.
who can help, I think, in guiding them in their global expansion journey. So that let me the spark that okay, I should start this firm focusing on these needs of AI businesses or global businesses from India to help them managing their US expansion. So I was with this journey, my co-founder helped me a lot and soul searching. So Hrithvik is there with me as well. So
Okay.
Yeah. Hi, Kashish. First of all, thank you for giving an opportunity to be a part of your podcast today. So, how it started, I'll tell you, that's something like being a chartered accountant by background. So, my first job was in Bahrain. So, I was a financial analyst there. So, there I got the exposure of, working abroad, cross country.
Mhm.
So again, then somehow later on I joined EY in India. I was into the assurance background and doing the auditing, accounting part, the a bit tax part. Then it just happened that having that background, that academic background, and the work experience of working with different countries, I was also into a secondment with EY and with the West Americas team. So I was there twice in the secondment. So that was something, a relationship developed of, I'm going getting into more in depth into the how the US operates the market, you know the cross country. So that was a something leveraging factor, that that inspired me, to start something fresh and to get into the US accounting tax part. So this is how
Okay.
journey started, and then I and Manish met we together, and we had this vision of leveraging and expanding to US markets. Yeah. So that's how
Okay.
we started today.
And where do you meet Manish?
Manish and we were we started our journey together right from the
Okay.
entrepreneurship. We were in the same
Okay.
farm, so that is how we were connected. So
yeah.
for since so many years, and it happened that we were after qualifying. Manish was in a different path. I was on a different route. I was in EY. Manish was also working with industry.
Yeah,
So
right.
that something happens. The world is very small, and
Exactly.
then it how one day we spoke together on a call, and
And I
then
think
Yep.
it
we
just
got.
all takes a trust. I think who you can depend
Exactly.
upon as a partner. Because
Right.
to me, I think partnership is not just something you look in a person. Like, honestly, if I say that I want someone to partner, especially in today's time, like somebody who wants to be part of global accounting, you see many chartered accountants who would be interested. But
Hmm.
we are not just looking for some engagement. I think partnership takes more than just a kind of a person who you
Exactly.
can trust shoulder to shoulder and be
Yes.
there with you. So I think that was one of the biggest factor in both of our minds that whether we want to be partner with each other. And I think
Yeah.
that articleship period of 3 years when we were there in together,
Hmm.
so even though we didn't know very much personally, but yeah, I know myself that this person will not break my trust, and he knows that.
Exactly.
So that was more of
Yeah.
a trust factor which was established back.
Yeah, right.
So that 3 years, I'll tell you, that was like a developing a relationship, knowing each
Mhm.
other more.
Right. That's a great story. Yep. Thank you for sharing this.
Yeah.
Okay, so my next question to you guys is, what are the biggest finance and compliance challenges businesses face when expanding into the US?
So like whenever the founders, the companies, they want to expand to US, so obviously there are a lot of challenges, because the challenges, they may be geographical. It may be something that you need to be aware of, the what is the law of the land says. You need to be compliant with the regulations, the jurisdictions, everything. So it's something that when you are operating, when a founder operates, he should have the knowledge of the land. Then a lot of challenges come related to something, like what are your products, what type of market you are exploring for it, who would be the best customers for it, the pricing factors. So these are the factors, something that affect when you enter the US market. And
Hmm.
apart from that, you need to be compliant as well. So when you operate with something, you don't know the laws of the land, but then how are you going to be compliant with respect to your income tax, sales tax, payroll? So for that you need often we see that the people, the founders, they do not have the right skilled person. So you need to have a right skilled person who will help you in this
Right.
accounting part, finance, taxation part.
Exactly, exactly. Okay, and what should founders plan before entering the US market?
So before entering the US market, planning is very much crucial. So you should be aware, like for example, you are setting up a company. So you should be aware like what kind of entity you are going to set up, whether you're going to set up your C corp or your LLC. Okay. Then it's
Right.
something like you need to know about the what is your product. Okay. So are you going to scale it up or not? Okay. Will you need investment? So it all depends upon it. For example, like if you want to go for an e-commerce company,
Hmm.
okay, then it's something, right? You can open your LLC or any entity in your Wyoming. That's a good entity. That's a good geographical location. So that people, they make mistakes. They will open somewhere in Delaware or in Texas. So the right the what the business activity the founders would be doing, that is very much crucial. And based on that
Hmm.
also, you should be knowing where which is the ideal jurisdiction place you should
Hmm.
set up a company.
And I think this should plan. I think we're just adding one point. It's more of Hrithvik added like, what is your objective of going to US? I think that's
Right.
the most critical thing. It's not just like you're going to US for fun. Just opening up adding up another entity in your legal structure. It's not that. I mean, what is the end objective of you? Whether you are going for an investment outlook, whether you are going for a
Yeah.
customer expansion. So it's more or less that accordingly. Like if you're going for an investment, let's say, so you need to be
Hmm.
compliant from the day one. You need to build the institutional level of compliance in your documentation. If you're
Right.
for a let's say customer expansion, you should plan. Let's say they often, for example, very common structure is people often forget transfer pricing. FEMA compliance is over there.
Yeah.
They are into a cross-border remittances. So I think those kind of things, because these are not heard by many of the even the best of the chartered accountants, because people are not trained on these aspects of the cross-border business. So whenever you deal in the
Right.
cross-border business, you should, I mean, I think get into a discussion on both the sides of the remittances,
Right.
India part and be it the US part or any part of the world.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
So all the countries have their different laws. So
Yeah.
yes, we have to, keep a tab on it. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Agreed. Okay. So what do you think? What are the most common mistakes businesses make with the cross-border accounting and tax?
So I think one of the most common mistake which people make is they try to set up the entity on their own. This is the one of the most common mistake I have seen, that they use a generic template or a generic advice. Like okay, as Hrithvik was saying, okay, set up an LLC or a C corp in Delaware without knowing. So like I just give you add to complication. Like if you are setting up an LLC, there are elections that needs to be made. For example, whether you want to set up it as a corporation or whether you want to set up it as a pass-through entity. Without doing that correctly, your India level of taxation could be exposed. So people
Right.
don't exactly, they try to work on the DIY arrangement. So that is something I mean, if you are from a finance background, you can do it. But even if you're a finance background, but if you're not a professional over there, there is
Hmm.
always a professional oversight. So DIY doing things like you manage drafting or operating agreements, setting up the entity on your own. I mean, this looks easy on the internet as an advice, but when you
Right.
practically go at the nuances level over there, things are many more. I mean, different, and it could have a vastly different. I mean, aspect, and it could have implications on your future fundraising journey or your future compliance point of view. And the other
Yeah.
mistake, sorry, uh, is that when banking setup is not done properly. I mean,
Hmm.
most people go for uh, like a digital bank, for example, Relay, Mercury. But if you're looking for expanding to US at a large scale, let's say you are planning to hiring employees
Hmm.
cross border, looking for funding, you need to have a proper business setup. Typically,
Yeah, right.
people what they do is go to Delaware, set up an entity, have a digital banking account, and have a virtual address. That's just on a plain paper. While this
Hmm.
structure is okay till the time you are at a very small level, but if you want
Yeah, right.
to really scale up, you need to have a proper address in there. You need to have a US representative over there who can manage the compliances, receive notices from their side. So I think following a generic template approach or a DIY kind of a thing is something which we believe most of the founders do wrong. And I think to avoid this, I just want to add another point what Hrithvik said is that you need to have a skilled person over there. And
Yeah,
I'm not
right.
saying you need to have a person over there. That person initially could be the founder itself or somebody close to it who knows finance. I think
Yeah, right.
all requires a governance level mindset that
Yeah. So I get two important points there. So one is the collaboration,
yeah,
right? And another one you mentioned before, at the start, the trust. So
yeah,
these are the two important
yeah,
points, I guess,
yeah,
Yeah.
to get over there.
I want
Yeah.
to add on what Manish said is exactly correct. And another the feature is something that why common mistakes happen because of the governance and control.
Hmm.
So something is the control is part that you cannot just overlook it.
yeah,
You should
Yeah,
develop internal control in your organization. So
exactly.
that internal control that should commensurate with the nature of the entity, the skill of the operation the entity has.
yeah,
So if
Yeah,
you
right.
have the right controls in every processes, like whether it's AP part,
yeah,
AR part, banking part,
yeah,
I think that will really help in mitigating the risk part.
yeah, yeah.
I echo with your point. Totally agreed. Internal control is
I think
that too important.
it,
Yep.
it need not to be as elaborate as like
Hmm.
a Fortune 500 company.
Yep.
It has more
Right.
from a governance mindset over there. I mean, it has to commensurate with the cost and the scale of the
Hmm.
operation, but that has to be your priority from your day one.
Right. Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So my next question is, how can companies avoid costly compliance issues while operating across multiple countries?
So I think answer to this again it goes back to my previous
Hmm.
reply and it takes also point is that most of the costly compliance mistakes is that if you consult a right professional or a right person at your day one because the mistakes can get ignored,
Hmm.
you would end up receiving notices, and even if you end up receiving notice you do not comply with it, interest penalties can accumulate into many
Yeah.
lakhs.
Right.
And when the investor due diligence comes into picture, the issue is not that you have to pay penalties, but sometimes the entire fundraising is stalled up because the investor feels that there is a lack of governance and control, and sometimes the questions
Yeah.
also
Right.
come up on the integrity of the team and the founders because they don't have a right governance mindset. Because the even everything goes well, like your business is doing well, you have the right metrics, your ARR, your go to market strategy is right, but if your governance and control is not right, the investor always have a fear and doubt that whether the money which I
Hmm.
am giving to the company is safeguarded
Hmm.
or not, whether it will be used to its intended as use or
Yeah.
not.
Right.
So I think that casts a big doubt on you, not just it cost you penalty, but
Yes.
having a right team with a right internal control and governance mindset. And by internal control and governance, I don't mean to say that okay, you have all the fancy reiki metrics and all that, but just that have as basic as like a compliance tracker, yearly compliance tracker. Take this off.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Okay, this is the due date, this is the compliance quarterly, weekly, and have someone be monitored. The person need not to be a CPA, person need not to be a chartered accountant. A person who has
Yep.
a basic level of knowledge of finance would be good if you are just operating at a one or two employee level or of up to five level employee. But obviously, as you grow, you need to have your qualified finance person who can.
Exactly.
So,
Right.
but this level of control mindset should be there from the beginning to avoid
From the day one. Yep.
as
Yep.
basic as this. Yeah.
Also, in this, like, there should be some a good structuring at the entity level as well.
Yeah.
For
Hmm.
example, like to minimize this compliance issue, like it should be delegated to one entity if you are operating cross multi entity level and multi cross country level. And in the case, like, the for example, consolidation part, or
Yeah, right.
certain outsourcing the accounting part, that can be delegated to one entity, in whether it's in India, US, or somewhere else.
Yeah, professional
Yeah.
consulting. I mean, or you can create
Right.
your own back office if you're at a scale enough.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I've seen the scenario as well. So we work with a client where they are operating 13 14 entities in the different regions. But yes, they consolidated one entity.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. Right. Okay, so moving forward. So what do you think, at what stage should businesses invest in stronger finance processes?
Uh, so from it's nothing like that we can start today or something tomorrow. So it all depends, like, right now when you have started your business. So that should be something in your key agenda and key to do list, that you should start your the scaling up, managing this from the day one of your whenever you have started your business, because you never know when the IRS will come after you, when a notice will be issued to you. So in that
Right.
case, it's the right time to start, at day one, having the entire the control process, the accounting concepts, everything at one place, so that you can take care of it easily. And also, for this level, it also depends, like, the size of the entity. If you wait for let the company to be $1 million company, then we'll start it. So that will delay everything. It will delay the
Yeah, right.
compliances. There will be some issue related to due diligence. The founders will be back of you. So that is something, you should plan ahead.
So there are two times to do it. One,
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
when you started it, and the other is right now.
Okay.
These are the
So
best times to be compliant.
yeah, so I would say that there should be no revenue threshold or the team size where it becomes urgent, but we should be,
But
the
yeah,
intent should be right from the day one.
yeah, but as a just because you asked the question and there is a threshold, a industry benchmark or a ballpark practice which we see somewhere around between 1 to 3 million is something when you should be really serious about building a finance team. Because,
Hmm.
and obviously if you're going beyond series A or B, I mean moving beyond series B is something which somebody should seriously give a thought. I mean, because at series A or B level somebody would give you the money on your idea, and money, and everyone can give an excuse, okay, that okay, you are a new company. But beyond series B, if you're looking for series C, institutional kind of a money, and you have crossed 1 million of threshold, you should have very strong processes and at least start working on that direction, because otherwise you will
Right.
not be able to move forward with the fundings and expansion. And even if you're expanding,
Hmm.
it's like a bull without a control.
Yep. 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 Totally agree. Okay. So how do you help businesses build finance functions that can support long-term growth?
So for this is something like to have a long-term growth, to have a strong scalable business. I think there are certain three driving factors for it. First of all is that, like, you should the SOP part, that is something standard operating process. Then second is
Right.
something to have the right support system, and then third thing is the right people. So I'll take each one. For the SOP, when you're operating a business, you should have the right standard operating process. So that may relate to something to your revenue process, client onboarding system, anything. So that should be something standardized, so that whenever new people come into your entity, so he should know what are the, they are the backbones of the
Yeah, right.
entity. So they should have, it should be so much solid that whenever new person enters, he should be well equipped. Yeah, this is a standard person process, or something. Then
Yeah,
something
right.
is the right support system. So right now we see here that AI is boom right now, and
Hmm.
how are you going to manage your work? So you should have the right automation, workflow automation. You should have the right tools and technologies and softwares to manage it. For example, I'll tell you, like, we are as a True Ledger into this accounting and tax part. So we it's everything Friday. Every Friday we take a session on these AI tools and automations. Not just to equip ourselves and make our work life easy, but so that every staff, everybody in
Is
our organization
updated.
as well, they are well too much.
It's moving
They are,
so fast.
yeah,
Yeah.
there should be update on
Yes.
that. So I'll tell you, like, for the automation we use for the AP part, we use Bill.com. Okay.
Hmm.
Then for the banking we use Mercury, Breaks.
And even
Okay.
for e-commerce,
Okay.
we are using
Yeah.
tools like WooCommerce, we are using WebGility and any
Hmm.
other industry standard tools that
Yeah.
work on like uh,
Okay.
e-commerce platform, Shopify integration native with many other accounting platform offers so that the data
Hmm.
flow becomes seamless over there.
Right.
Right.
And the third,
Yes.
like, people. That is very
Right.
much important, to support yourself.
Yes, and there are so many tools as well in the market available which we can utilize, to make our life easy and make it compliant as well,
Yep.
not just the easy.
But right
Yep.
now, finding out the right tool and building
Right.
the tech
Yeah,
stack on it is also becoming challenging.
right. That's a bigger job. Yeah,
Yeah,
because
that's
we have
what
so
we
many
do.
alternatives in the market.
We take demos, we internally take
Right.
demos and test it thoroughly, and then we have implemented many of the new tools on our clients. So that's something we are doing it very actively at our firm.
Right. Right. That's good to hear. Yep.
Yeah.
So, what do you think? How is technology changing accounting and compliance?
So Manish will take over because he is something
Yeah.
automation expert, and
So,
he'll
so,
give you.
Sure.
so we both are, I think, learning our way, and we have recently also qualified the ICI AI certificate course, and our encouraging our team members also to do that. So,
Hmm.
as a part of it, but yeah, what we have learned over there is that how is technology. First of all, I think just to statistics, I think I was hearing at one of the AICPA conference, you know, who the award for the most innovative practice for the year in the last year conference was given to a firm which is run
Hmm.
by a single person. He is handling 300 plus clients and making a revenue
Right.
of 600K, and he is taking a vacation of 12 weeks in a year.
That's amazing.
And those
Yep.
are and that is the headline of the Journal of Accountancy for last I think
Hmm.
July period. So that's how the AI is kind of changing the uh,
Right.
making you take back the time, it's making you take more clients, it's making you generate more revenue. I think those look,
Right.
I think from a headline point of view, it's okay, people are going solo persons, and I think, but if you talk about from an enterprise point of view, what actually does AI? It brings audit trail, it brings
Right.
visibility, like how the operations you get to the real time visibility. It brings the fastest in operations, things which used to take drafting a content or drafting an email would take an hours or like a half a day. With Claude, with Copilot, and with many other
Right.
tools, things are taking to a next level. I think we can, but still, I think you need to apply the intelligence to customize it and to apply the right context to it, which we cannot ignore it. And then I think other thing is where the part which we feel AI is not so is the dependability, whether
Hmm.
it is 100% dependable at the moment or not. I think
Right.
obviously work is undergoing and we are seeing more and more better models. We see every day chat GPT, someday 5.6 coming up, Claude Fable coming up. So
Right.
more models are coming up and things are improving. But yeah, I think that's how the AI is bringing in the changes, and these are tangible changes which you are visible.
Yeah.
I was doing the practice. If I started it to 2023 before the launch of ChatGPT or something, but now not a single day would have passed if I would not use the ChatGPT or Cloud for or any other AI based tools for our research or for our as good as a
Yeah. Right.
something operation. So I think our daily life has also changed a lot with the use of.
Exactly.
So that's one thing, and I think there is one more aspect where the AI is actually uh, helping us. I think improving the finance operation is there are different areas, and I would say uh, as a rule, AI or automation is something which obviously is that you will first start with your low hanging fruits, and those low hanging fruits are something which are lower stake and which are repetitive in nature. All the
Right.
organizations who are mature enough, they are using it even it for the complex process and for the customer facing operation. Like for an enterprise with a revenue and expense operations, I would prefer first to implement AI in the bill processing part, because I would not want the revenue, my top line, to be impacted by AI first, because
Yeah,
that's,
right.
but even for God's sake, if somebody happens to my revenue expense part of it, I can still make it. But those are something areas which you say which are the less stake and which are repetitive in nature. And bill processing is something which is an area which is very common across it. And then reconciliations and data interchange between multiple systems that you can do via API or connectors, or nowadays you use a term called MCP. So many things are coming up. So I think those are the areas which are fastest, where we are seeing the AI in implementing in accounting technology. So that's
So
the,
I
yeah.
just want to quote here one
Yeah.
thing.
Mhm.
We are the generation who is learning AI,
Uh,
and the future
Yep.
generations they will born with AI.
yeah.
Right. So, see, yes. So I can also share one thing. Like, I have started my career, 10 years back, in 2015. So at that point of time, what the important skill sets were, preparing PPTs,
Yeah.
right? And learning Excel formulas, right? But you can do this via AI now, quite easily. So I think, those skill sets has been redundant with the time. And yes, as you said, we have to, we are learning AI, but yes, next generation will born with the AI.
Yeah.
So we born with those skill sets like Word, using Excel formulas and then PPTs. But now this has been shifted to AI. Yep.
But I
Right.
think I have also seen one thing is like earlier when I was saying, I just give my example. When we used to apply in an interview for a job, even at a big four like Deloitte, even at that time the qualification required was you are a CA, you have worked in the direct tax, and you have handled the relevant matters for qualification, for example. And for him, it would be like the
Hmm.
knowledge of the accounting standards, GAAP, US GAAP, IFR. But
Right.
now the key thing is technology part is becoming more and more visible even in the traditional jobs, which were saying were not. AI is not just impacting the engineering level jobs, or it's a knowledge of technology system, implementing the new technology tool.
Hmm.
Even
Hmm.
though as a trained accountant, I have not been worked on the some ERP implementation project by myself or a technology, but now I have to know all the SDLC life cycle which we
Right.
studied in our theory book, but now it's coming at a very real life stage about the data security part of the software.
Right.
Often we do ask these questions: the privacy, the data security, all these questions, the token cost, which is now becoming a big issue. So we have not thought of that we would heard this term or investigate these terms when we were buying a software or something, but now this is becoming
Hmm.
very important conversations when we are evaluating a technology decision for any of the tool, like for an
Right.
e-commerce company or for
Exactly.
looking to implement a technology stack.
Yep. Yep. Thank you for sharing this example.
Yeah.
Yep. So next, so what do you think? What are the top three recommendations for founders planning international expansion?
Yeah. When you're expanding and basically if you're entering into some other geographical locations, US, Canada, Australia, maybe any other than your home country, you should have the knowledge of the land. That is something. When you are entering, be an expert. Do your homework. Do your research and development so that you are aware of the products and the market where you are entering. You know your customers. You know your how are you going to scale up. So that thing is very much so the laws of the land should be very much clear. Then the compliance also comes here. And the compliance, because of the compliance you have to incur so much expenses if you're non-compliant. So that should be on your priority, that should be on your checklist to be compliant in everything, so that so that there should not be worry or hassle next time if the IRS is after you know so such things. So a compliant solution should be
Hmm.
at your checklist.
Yeah, and from my side, I think having spoken with multiple founders and early stage startups, I think while it may sound a bit cliche or something, but never cheap out on the professional advice. I think that's one of the biggest advice I would give you. Don't go
Hmm.
for a free internet advice or a hearsay. I think it can end up
Right.
costly for you. I mean, in many ways that you cannot imagine, like a wrong entity structure or a missed tax registration is something which you cannot afford. I mean, uh, so that, and it could impact you in many ways, not just you monetarily, but your reputation and your future expansion plan. So always have a right skill person with you.
Yeah, right.
That can be your own employee or that could be your external advisor, but always seek out an advisor. Obviously cost is one factor which in early stage of startup you should look, but go for a valued professional who has the right skill set.
Yes.
Never.
So even the all AI tool has, disclaimer in the
Yes,
bottom
AI is the
that we
human.
are not 100% correct.
Yeah.
AI
So
can make mistakes.
AI can mistake. So please do.
Exactly.
So I think that's one of the thing. I think while AI is there, even I would be wrong to admit that I'm not using AI. We do use
Hmm.
AI, but I think we are trained accountants. And the best I think proverb was garbage in, garbage out. So as a founder,
Right.
or if you are not a trained accountant, or if you are not trained on the professional US taxes, you cannot ask the right question, and AI would obviously not be able to give you the correct position of the law or understand.
Right.
Right. So that's why the professionals are needed. And as a founder, I myself being a founder, when I have not incorporated many companies in the US, I took support of some external vendor to incorporate my company as well. So there is
Yeah, right.
no shame in admitting that if you don't know
Exactly.
something, you should seek a professional help over there. So
Yeah, right.
Also, like you should be very much updated. It's the AI,
yeah,
AI is everywhere. So you must be updated with the technology and the tools so that to make your life easy.
yeah. How is the
Yes.
industry being shaped?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so my last question to you guys is what finance and compliance trends should businesses prepare for over the next few years?
Yeah, I think if you were what I think is just on the top of it, I think the compliance trend is, I think, which we have already seen it. I think I can just give an example over and it's the recent post on my LinkedIn as well, is the how the AI is being taxed. I think this is going to be one of the most hotly debated topic in the US, because our earlier tax laws were designed to tax the tangible goods and services in a model, but AI somehow doesn't fit in that definition. So how AI products are being taxed in across the market is one of the
Hmm.
biggest compliance challenge. And
Okay.
apart from uh, financial compliances, I think global AI regulations law. I think EU is already an example. India is also coming. So data privacy, AI regulations is coming to be a biggest, I think, a challenge in terms of the
Okay.
compliance trend. Cyber security, of course, but yeah, these are two or three around the AI themes only. I'm saying, but yes, somehow these are going to be one of the biggest themes on the compliance side. Hrithvik, your views?
Yeah, it's the same what Manish has said that compliance is should be at the top of the checklist, and the examples we see here that if you're not compliant enough, that will be so much hassle, and the IRS will back off you. It will involve your due diligence process.
Mm. And I think one more area which I feel is that the trend-wise compliance is that uh, governments would be doing comply more in an automated way. I think they would be
Hmm.
spending less on human resource. With the US example, you would see the Donald Trump firing most of the employees and instead putting most of the investment on human budget in the AI agent. So I think AI-based scrutiny, I think, which India has also implemented a couple of years back,
Yeah, right.
faceless assessment trend. So I think
Hmm.
that trend is also there, that more and more AI-based compliance driven would be the next way we are seeing.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
So that's great. So, to our viewers, so if you are planning a US expansion, get your finance and compliance groundwork done before you enter the market. Watch out for common cross border mistakes, invest early in a finance function, and that can scale.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid to lean on AI and automation to get there faster.
Yeah.
So that's a wrap on today's episode. Huge thanks to Manish Agarwal and Hrithvik Raj for breaking down what it really takes to expand into the US,
Yeah.
from compliance traps to building finance system that scales. If you are a founder eyeing global growth, take these lessons seriously before you take the leap. I am Kashish Sanduria from Exfynia. Thanks for listening, and we will see you on the next podcast.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank
Kashish,
you very much.
thanks.
Bye
Yes,
bye.
hi.